I go to bed at 3 a.m., wake up at 11 or 12. I feel like the day is it is literally half over,
Yeah.
and I don't have enough time to do anything.
This is the Begin Within podcast, where we believe real, lasting health and fitness requires you to start inside before you work out. I'm your host, Nate Slegger, and I'm here to show you behind the scenes of fitness. You already know exercise is good for you, but what about all the other things in life that affect your fitness? If you're looking for extra motivation to get started or to make sure you keep going, this is the place for you.
Produced by BeginWithin.fit.
My guest today is Biju Sukumaran. He's an award-winning writer and photographer. His work has appeared in National Geographic, CNN, USA Today, and the Huffington Post, and lots of other publications. He also runs a website, scienceofselfhelp.org, and social media channels dedicated to hacking, long-term change, and psychology. He's been on the show before, and I'm happy to have him back with us again to talk about what he has been up to. If you heard his previous appearances here on the Begin Within podcast, you'll remember that he loves to research habit change and then experiment on himself and share the results of his findings to help his audience to be able to move forward steadily in becoming a better version of themselves, which is why we are all here together, isn't it? To become better versions of ourselves through health and fitness and wellness. One of the things that I have heard so often, especially when people are giving up, throwing in the towel when it comes to exercising regularly, is this: I don't have enough time. Maybe you've said that before. Maybe that's how you're feeling right now when it comes to the things that you know you need to do in order to work on your health and improve your fitness. The tips that Biju is going to share today help us to kind of take a look at our life from a different perspective and say, how can I move things around, make some big shifts in the way that I use my time, especially when it comes to the time I go to bed and the time I wake up, so that I can be more focused on the things that are going to get me the results I want. Biju has been working on becoming a morning person. And if you're somebody who said, I'm just not a morning person, the message is this: you can change. And in the interview, he's going to share some things that will help you to do so. Here's my interview with Biju Sukumaran.
There's that whole like 5 a.m. wake up kind of thing, that hardcore. No, I'm not there. But for me, as someone who always woke up really super late, I was one of those people who just naturally, I go to bed at 3 a.m., wake up at 11 or 12. I feel like the day is it is literally half over, and I don't have enough time to do anything. This is a pretty big change for me. It's a super huge change for me.
So what change have you made? And then maybe we could dig into how you got there.
Sure. I made two habits. The first one was just getting up. As soon as I get up, go outside, sit in the sun. And I try to shoot for 30 minutes, but at the very beginning, it's just, a couple minutes, nothing big. And the second one was setting an alarm to go to bed. Because I suffer from, I don't know if you've heard this phrase, but I think it's called revenge bedtime procrastination.
I've never heard it. I mean, I have an idea what it is, but
apparently it's a Chinese phrase that, someone locked onto, a little while back, and it spread like wildfire among people who where this really happens, where you're sitting there and you know you need to get to bed, but you feel like you haven't had that kind of free time that you really wanted during the day. And so this is kind of like your revenge for that. And you know it's bad, but you just have to do it. And that's kind of one of the things that I suffer from. I'll sit there and go down internet rabbit holes and, Netflix binges or whatever it might be. And naturally that affects your sleep.
Yeah. So it's like this is my time now. Finally, I get some me
Yes.
time.
Right.
I'm going to take it even though I know it might not be good for me in the long run.
Right. Exactly.
Nice. Is there a little bit of I'm trying to I feel like it might be more common than what you think. I'm like, do I think I have a little of that, but is there a little of like, because you're kind of like stealing it from sleep, like it's a little more like, I don't know, exciting?
Exciting. Yeah, maybe it's that, but it's also fundamentally not believing you'll get it back if you were to go to bed early. Like I
Oh,
don't
interesting.
necessarily, in my natural state, I wouldn't sit there and go, oh, well, I could have more time if I got up tomorrow morning early. I just don't. I don't usually see it like that. I mean, things have changed, but yeah, I don't usually see it like that. So it is really like this is the only time I've got.
Yeah.
For me.
So I guess I'm curious, why even make the change? Like, what was it for you that was it just curiosity? I know you love self-experimentation and trying to change habits just for the sake of doing it. Was this one just like, hey, let's try to tackle this and see what happens? Or was there something more for you that you were looking for?
I think that for better or for worse, being a morning person in our society is just prioritized. There's a stigma of like, oh, you're a lazy person because you didn't get up. Even if you're not lazy, even if that length of sleep is the same amount of sleep as someone else, being a morning person just sort of has that sheen of productivity. I don't necessarily believe it just on its surface, but that's something I wanted, um, just to sort of be more productive. And just in general, I find that there's more time in the mornings rather than in the evenings. There's usually things going on, especially pre-pandemic. You go out to meet people. That all happens at night usually.
Right.
So it's something I've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
But found it almost impossible to actually be. So
Yeah. No, I the book Why We Sleep, I think Matthew Walker.
yeah.
I remember reading that a couple of years back, and it was like, whoa, like he points that out. I think like even the way school is set up, it's like kids that at that age especially, their brains aren't working really well that early, but yet
Right.
you got to be there or you're
Yeah.
gonna get kicked out or you're truant or
Right. Yeah, definitely. And what I kind of found was also there was a study that was done on uh, getting out of bed and getting morning light. Like as soon as
Right.
you get out of bed, getting some natural light. So I tried that. I tried the study was 30 minutes as soon as you get up. So I tried
Okay.
that and it profoundly influenced my sleep. I just got better sleep, and it basically made it so that when I got to bed, I fell asleep much, much faster. So it undercut all the issues that I had before. Like, there are techniques for trying to not be anxious as soon as you get to bed, or mind rumination and all that stuff. But I just found that this was just an easier solution. It undercut all of that.
Got it. Was it then like once that was in place, are you looking forward to going to bed more than before? Or is it like, well, I might as well stay up because I know once I lay down, like I'm gonna just sit there anyway or lay there anyway and think and be busy mentally. So I'll do something more
Yeah,
enjoyable than
definitely.
that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like it's just a huge change. It's just, to me, it's more the fact that I just get tired. I just naturally get tired. earlier. So any sort of, yeah, that kind of anxiety or ruminations that naturally
Mm,
tend to occur for me, or used to occur for me, um, just don't happen as much anymore, which is
got
great.
it. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, what about the alarm at night to go to bed?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to say specific time or whatever, but I'm curious of like where does that happen? Does that catch you by surprise? Like, are you watching Netflix and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, there's the alarm. I gotta go. Like, stop. See you
Yeah.
later. Are you eating dinner and you're like, oops, there's the alarm for bed. Like, how does it fit in?
Um, so one of the things that gets me is that a lot of people want to have these nighttime bedtime before bedtime rituals.
Hmm.
And I think that's really good. It's just from a habit science perspective, it's putting the cart before the horse just by saying that. A lot of people will sit there and say, "Oh, I want to do something right before bed." And there are people who can do it. I'm not doubting that. But habits work with a trigger first and then the response second. So it's kind of hard to easily make before bed habits work. So for me personally, I just wanted something that would trigger all that. Luckily, my girlfriend is like an early riser. She's always been like early
Okay.
bed, early to rise. So I just pin it. Yeah, yeah, I know. I just pin it on her, and I was just like, okay, when she goes to bed, I'll set an alarm for 20 minutes later. Get my whatever need to like
Yeah,
go down internet rabbit holes to put just a time cap on it. And
got it.
even if I set, even if I go a little bit further or whatever, just having that alarm there, it's enough of a nudge for me to go, okay, look, I just need to go to bed.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
so I was kind of thinking like you have it set at the same time every day, but you have the trigger of, your girlfriend goes to bed. Now you set the alarm.
yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna 20, is it always 20 minutes?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
20 minutes. 20 minutes, just completely arbitrary.
Got it.
And I think I might start just doing a number alarm or a time-based alarm.
Hmm.
Um, but so far it's worked. I like, for example, again, I'm not doing the crazy early morning stuff, but if I choose to like um, bring it forward or bring it earlier, then I might just go ahead and try to beat her to bed or something. I might. It depends on. I think it just depends how much sleep you naturally get.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And so
I'm
the whole
also,
goal,
oh,
the whole goal for this for me was kind of in opposition to a lot of the advice there, which is to kind of um, bear your willpower in that morning instant. Like the
hmm,
alarm goes off at 8 a.m. You just have to just do it. Or, you put your alarm in another room or whatever.
hmm.
My goal for all this was to make it natural, that I just naturally wake up at this time. Because for me, the alternative is a horrible wake up.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I've read about alarm clocks that like jump off the table and bounce around the room and you have to go find them.
Yeah, I don't. Wow, I would. What a way to start the day.
Or once you get it, you have to walk, 10 feet before it shuts off. So by then you're awake. Like, yeah, yeah, that it's unpleasant. And I think BJ Fogg, I know we've talked about him. Like he says, like we change best when we feel good. And a lot of
Yeah.
that is like, I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna torture myself into doing the right thing here. And
Yeah,
you
and
never
the
change.
my jealousy over morning people isn't the fact that they're like exerting willpower. It's just they just happen to be energetic in the morning. And that's what I want, right? I want
Yeah.
that effortless, just kind of like looking down at the person like, oh, you didn't do a run this morning? Huh, that's cool. I kind of like that just natural effortlessness. So that's kind of what I'm after.
Got it. How is it? Like, how's the morning? Like, and we kind of talk about you use the maybe the late night time for you to get back, the time for yourself you didn't get during the day. Well, now you don't have as long. You're cutting that to 20 minutes, maybe. What's in the morning, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is it seems like in the morning hours, we're not doing the same types of things. I wouldn't go, good morning, I'm going to turn on Netflix and watch a few shows. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
So
right.
like, what have you noticed there? Like in terms of like how you're using the time? How has it changed your life that way?
Well, for the Netflix thing, I just don't miss it. It's just not, yeah, I'll watch a show like that. That's
Hmm.
not it, that doesn't change, but I'm not going down these binging kind of
Hmm.
loopholes. Um, it's gonna be there tomorrow, like I don't need to go into like deep in the darkness of YouTube comment sections, like whatever. Like that aspect of it at least is just unproductive in general, for mental health and
Hmm.
whatever. But what I found in the positive is that I just feel like I have so much space in my life. And I know that's obvious,
Hmm.
but from like a perpetual night owl, it is shocking. It is just completely mind blowing that I don't have this feeling constantly that I'm trying to catch up,
Mm.
which is incredible.
Yeah.
I can't even explain how incredible that is.
Wow. Yeah. So like throughout the whole day, you notice a difference
Oh yeah,
in
definitely.
mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's just this sort of, it's not like I'm literally laid back, right? I'm not doing less work or anything like that, but there's this feeling of that. There's this feeling that I have the time to do things.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, which is again just really, really amazing. And it makes me wonder, there are a lot of people who say that we have a set chronotype,
Hmm.
that we are either, a morning person or a night owl or whatever. But I'm really curious, is that really that fixed? How much of it is behavioral based versus some sort of genetic thing? For me, thus far at least, it seems to be, and it's been about I think almost 2 months.
Okay.
So it's still a fairly new change, but for me, it's definitely not fixed.
Hmm. Yeah. Interesting. I'm curious about people around you. Have they noticed a difference, or like what types of feedback have you gotten?
Yeah, like I have an old friend who was a roommate who used to wake me up just in random ways. Like he would just jump on me, like very
Yeah.
college
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So
Bucket of water on your head. Yeah.
not that I would,
Okay.
but close, very, very close. Like he used to dress up, have costumes and all this stuff. He took it really far. But he's always made fun of me for this. And now when he texts me in the morning, I just text immediately back. And he goes, "Wait, what are you doing up?" And then eventually it's been kind of this like, I keep on forgetting you actually get up in the morning now. And it's kind of cool, it's neat to hear that from your close friends who in their mind your behavior has shifted, um, quite a bit. Your identity
Hmm.
has changed, and I think that's a telling uh, phrase or point of
Yeah.
view, because that's really ultimately what you want. You want an identity shift.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
has been nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. You're changing. You are changing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. And that's what we're here to talk about, begin within, making changes. How do we do it? So I'm curious, our audience is like fitness enthusiasts or those that's really just starting out in a lot of cases. Um, how do you feel like the things that you've learned in this process and becoming a morning person could help someone in that realm?
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest excuses that people give is not having enough time. I think that's one of the main things. So this gives you time. Um, I think that in terms of just mental health, going outside is really good. Getting quality
Hmm.
sleep is really good. But I want to expand this. My girlfriend goes and she's now a runner. She's recently picked that up and she's like really into running now, especially in Texas. I mean, I know that's a specific thing, but in Texas, running in the heat is a horrible affair, and
Right.
it kind of forces you to become a lot of people to become morning people, because that's the only time where
It's
it's
a cool time of
actually
day.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening for me because that's what I want to do. I want to expand this to not just, look, you don't even have to just be in the sun, but what if you're walking? That's doubling down on that habit.
Yeah.
Being outside in general has just these great benefits, and moving, and so I don't know. I think it compounds very quickly.
Yeah. Cool. And I think you probably already touched on this with getting the daylight maybe, but is there anything else that you would maybe give in terms of advice for someone who is listening and they're like, whoa, this is cool. What should I do to get started?
Yeah, I think always start small. Always have a clear trigger, and plan it out. There's obviously going to be times where you fail. Like if it's raining cats and dogs outside, I'm probably not going to go outside, and that's okay. Just try to keep it up, and I think the changes it'll gain interest. It'll compound. So, I started really small. These are really small behaviors. I'm not, running for an hour in the morning or anything. I'm just going outside. I like to shoot for 30 minutes. It's something I can build to. I haven't done that yet, but that's okay. I'm still reaping the benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think all too often we want to be like all or nothing because we're writing out this like motivation kind of thing that fades. Motivation will fade, but habits will stay a lot longer. So start small.
Cool. Nice. Biju, great to talk to you again. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Wasn't that awesome? Are you ready to become a morning person? Are you ready to become more of a morning person? Now you know exactly what you can do to start moving in that direction. I think one of the big themes, one of the big takeaways that I have from that conversation is this. So often we say, I can't do something. I am just not that type of person, or I can't change. It's just the way I am. The message is this. We can change. Change is possible. We can edit our habits. We can make adjustments. We just have to put some effort into it. And we can change, the person that we are. And along with it, our identity can shift as well as we do that. The advice is this. Start small. Just start. Start moving in the right direction. What might be the smallest, easiest step that you can take to start moving in the direction of the person that you want to become? Thanks so much for joining me here. If you've listened to this podcast before and you enjoy it, it would be awesome if you would please share it with someone else who you know would appreciate it. And if you could follow, rate, and review this podcast in your podcast player right now. Thanks again for joining me. I'll talk to you next week. If you are tired of feeling frustrated and disappointed with fitness and you're ready to get on the path to being the healthy person you want to be, just go to beginwithin.fit and click the Join Our Challenge button. We can't wait to support you in your fitness journey and help you to get the results you deserve.